Close your eyes for 5 seconds. I want you to imagine something. This is the last day of your life. Not metaphorically, not someday. Today, look around. This room, these walls, the life you built, was any of it really yours? Or were you just following invisible rules written by dead people? There's a sickness in our world, and its symptom isn't pain, it's numbness. That 3 a.m. feeling when you wonder, is this all there is? What if I told you that everything you've been taught about success and happiness was a lie? That your exhaustion isn't failure, but awakening? 1. The great question. Imagine this. You wake up one morning, and for the first time in years, you feel it. A quiet, gnawing unease. The kind that doesn't scream, but whispers, creeping into the spaces between your thoughts. You go through the motions, shower, coffee, commute, but something is off. The world around you hums with the same rhythm as always. People scrolling, working, laughing, rushing, yet you can't shake the feeling that you're living inside a script you didn't write. You glance at your reflection in a passing window. The face staring back is familiar, but the eyes, those are the eyes of a stranger. Who is this person? Is this really you? Or just a character you've been playing for so long that even you can't tell the difference anymore? This isn't a midlife crisis. This is something deeper. Here's the paradox. You were told that if you followed the rules, study hard, work hard, climb the ladder, you'd find fulfillment. And yet, here you are. You've done everything right. But something vital is missing. Not happiness exactly. You have moments of that, not success. You've checked the boxes, but a sense of meaning. A feeling that your life is yours, not just a series of borrowed expectations. Why? Why do so many of us, intelligent, capable, seemingly free, end up feeling like ghosts in our own lives? Like we're sleepwalking through a reality that was handed to us, not chosen. Is it possible that the very systems designed to give us security, education, careers, social norms, have quietly stolen something far more precious, our authenticity? Think about it. How many of your daily actions are truly yours, not inherited from parents, absorbed from culture, or adopted out of fear? When was the last time you made a decision, not because it was safe, expected, or rewarded, but because it resonated with something deep inside you? What if the life you're living isn't wrong, but it isn't yours either? This isn't just about career choices or relationships. This is about identity itself. The great question isn't, how do I fix my life? But, who am I when no one is watching? And the answer, the terrifying, exhilarating truth, is waiting in the shadows. 2. The hidden problem. Its psychological, philosophical roots. You are not lost. You are asleep, and the world has been feeding you dreams. This is not a metaphor. The modern human mind exists in a state of hypnosis, not by any sinister force, but by something far more insidious. The slow, invisible accumulation of other people's truths. From the moment you could understand language, you were handed a script. What success looks like. Money, status, possessions. What happiness feels like. Constant positivity, achievement. What you should want. Stability, approval, comfort. But here's what they didn't tell you. These are not truths. They are survival strategies. The psychological prison. Carl Jung called it the persona, the mask we wear to navigate society. But when the mask fuses to the skin, we forget what's beneath. Freud saw it too. Civilization demands repression, and in exchange, we get quiet despair. Nietzsche went further. Most people are shadows of themselves, echoes of someone else's voice. The problem isn't that we follow rules. The problem is that we stop questioning them. Why do we work jobs we hate to buy things we don't need? Why do we crave approval from people we don't respect? Why do we fear being alone, yet feel lonely in crowds? The answer lies in the illusion of choice. The invisible hand of conditioning. From birth, you were shaped by forces you never consented to. Cultural narratives. Happiness comes from consumption. Tribal instincts. Conform or be rejected. Neurological shortcuts. Your brain prefers familiar misery over uncertain freedom. Viktor Frankl, who survived Auschwitz, observed, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. But what if we don't even see the situation? The fear that runs you. Beneath every safe decision is terror, not a failure, but a freedom. What if you quit the job and discover you're still empty? What if you speak your truth and no one listens? What if you strip away everything you were told to want and find nothing underneath?" This is why most people never wake up, not because they can't, but because it hurts too much to look. Jean-Paul Sartre put it bluntly, "Man is condemned to be free." But we've built a world where freedom feels like falling, not flying. The fork in the road. You now face a choice. Keep sleeping and spend your life decorating a cage. Start asking dangerous questions and risk losing everything you were told to love. This is not about self-improvement. This is about psychological rebellion. 3. The unseen consequences. The greatest trick the system ever pulled was convincing you that this is normal. That restless void you feel at 3 a.m., the numbness behind your smile, the quiet dread that whispers, "Is this all there is?" These aren't personal failures. They are symptoms. Symptoms of a life lived on autopilot, where your deepest instincts have been systematically silenced. The slow death of authenticity. Like a tree forced to grow around a fence, your psyche has contorted itself to fit shapes that were never yours. The consequences are invisible at first, then irreversible. Emotional plasticity. You lose the ability to distinguish what you feel from what you're supposed to feel. Why are you crying at weddings? Why do you laugh at jokes that aren't funny? Decision paralysis. When every choice is filtered through, "What will they think?" you become a passenger in your own life. The Stockholm Syndrome of the soul. You start defending the very systems that drain you. Work isn't supposed to be fulfilling. Dreams are for kids. Aldous Huxley warned of this in Brave New World. You are conditioned to love your servitude. The cognitive dissonance epidemic. Your brain knows something is wrong, but when reality clashes with the script, the mind resorts to terrifying coping mechanisms. Spiritual consumerism, chasing enlightenment like a product. If I meditate enough, buy the right course, find the perfect guru, then I'll be fixed. Hustle culture as trauma response. Using productivity to numb existential dread. If I achieve enough, maybe the void won't swallow me. Digital dissociation. Scrolling to avoid the silence where truth whispers. Arthur Schopenhauer saw this coming. Most men spend their lives in a state of perpetual flight from themselves. The social hallucination. The most dangerous consequence? You start believing the collective delusion. That busy important, that suffering noble, that conformity safety. Worst of all, you teach it to the next generation. The cycle continues. But here's what they don't tell you. This isn't evolution. It's captivity. The breaking point. There will come a moment, maybe today, maybe in 10 years, when the cost of pretending becomes unbearable, when the mask fuses to your skin, when you realize you've been renting out your soul to pay for a life you never chose. This isn't depression. This is awakening. 4. The rebellion. How to break free. There is a way out. But it will require something most aren't willing to give: the courage to be hated. This is not about quitting your job. moving to Bali, or any other cliche of freedom. Real rebellion happens in the mind first. It begins when you stop asking, how do I fit in? And start demanding, why should I? Step 1. The withdrawal of consent. Every system of control relies on one thing, your participation. Stop calling it a routine. Call it what it is. A series of rehearsed behaviors you didn't choose. Stop calling it networking. Call it what it is. Trading your time for proximity to people you don't respect. Stop calling it self-improvement. Call it what it is. Trying to fix a self you were never allowed to meet. Nietzsche's warning burns here. You must be ready to burn yourself in your own flame. How could you become new if you had not first become ashes? Step 2. The shadow work. Carl Jung's most dangerous idea. Your darkest traits hold your greatest power. That anger you suppress, it's the energy to say no. That selfishness you deny, it's the instinct to protect your soul. That laziness you shame, it's your body begging you to stop betraying it. Exercise. For 1 week, track every time you say, I have to, then rewrite it as I choose to. The lies will surface fast. Step 3. The death of performance. Your personality is largely a trauma response. Time to interrogate it. Who would you be if no one was watching? What would you stop pretending to enjoy? How much of your humor is armor? Viktor Frankl's razor. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose. Find that space. Live in it. Step 4. The reclamation of time. They steal your life in 5-minute increments. Meetings that should be emails. Conversations that drain you. Rituals you keep because we've always done it this way. New math. If you have 30,000 days to live, how many will you spend in waiting rooms for a life that never comes? Step 5. The nuclear option. Ask yourself, if I were fired today, disowned tomorrow, and exiled next week, what would I still not regret? That thing? Do more of it. This isn't motivation. This is war. 5. The ultimate truth. The final, most powerful realization. The great tragedy is not that we suffer, but that we suffer for nothing. You were promised that if you followed the rules, played the game, and buried your wildness, you would be rewarded. But the reward was a mirage. A life that looks good on paper, but feels like a funeral in your bones. Here is the truth they never taught you. You were never broken. All those years spent trying to fix yourself. What if the problem wasn't you, but the yardstick? That anxiety, it's not a disorder. It's your soul screaming that this life is too small for it. That depression, not a chemical imbalance, but a wisdom, a refusal to keep pretending this is enough. That exhaustion, not burnout, but the collapse of a persona you were never meant to wear. Carl Jung's final warning. The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. The lie of linear success. They told you life was a ladder. It's not. It's an ocean. Ladders have only isn't found in Bali. Startups only one direction. Oceans have depths. Ladders require permission. Oceans demand exploration. Ladders collapse. Oceans transform. You don't need to climb. You need to dive. The final rebellion. Sovereignty. Freedom or gurus. It's found in one sentence. I no longer negotiate with my own existence. Stop asking if you're allowed to want what you want. Stop seeking validation for your joy. Stop apologizing for taking up space. Nietzsche's final gift. Become who you are. Not better, not happier, truer. The choice that defines you. When you die, only one question will matter. Did I live or was I lived? The answer begins now.